Hey, what's up? This is Sully from Godsmack. Strap on those boots, baby, because you are now in the trenches of the war room with the one and only Mistress Carrie right here on the Mistress Carrie Podcast.
What's up? This is Joe Rogan, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Her hair so lovely, pretty eyes.
Hey, this is Brent from Shinedown, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie. Hey, Carrie, go put your bra on, girl.
Hey, this is Steven Tyler, and you be listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
What's up? This is Aaron from Stain, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Hi, everybody. This is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters, and you're listening to the one, the only Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is David from the band Disturbed, and you're listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
Hi, Bruce Dickinson here from Iron Maiden. Yes, indeed, Miss Whiplash herself, Mistress Carrie, is here to unchain your brain.
Hi, this is Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You're listening to Mistress Carrie.
This is Dennis Leary. You are listening to my favorite, Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is Corey from Stone Sour, and you have the privilege of listening to Mistress Carrie.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's Mistress Carrie, reporting for duty from MCHQ for episode 282 of the Mistress Carrie Podcast. My guest this week is Johannes Eckerstrom, the frontman from Avatar, who returns to the show just a couple days before the band's new album, Don't Go in the Forest, gets released this Halloween. Johannes made his first appearance on episode 146 of the podcast back on March 22nd of 2023 before Dance Devil Dance came out. As the band gets ready for their new album, they're also heading out on the road with a stop in Boston at the House of Blues on November 26th. Those tickets are on sale now. We talked about everything from Ozzy to balloons, from the trombone to Fenway Park, to opera singers and his love of clowns. So, allow me to reintroduce you to Johannes Eckerstrom from Avatar. Johannes, thank you so much for coming back on the show. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too, and thank you for having me.
I said good morning, you said good afternoon, because I know you're overseas again. So do you know exactly where you are? Are you home?
Well, correction, you are overseas. I'm home. Yeah, I'm here in Helsinki, Finland, which has been my home for 11 years. So yeah, I'm very much home in a rehearse space I share with some opera singers.
Opera singers, really?
Yeah, it's just the good thing when one guy in the band changes country, it's good if it's the singer. It's more important that your bass player and drummer, play the songs together a lot. I can get away with singing to their recordings and preparing its own little thing, singing as the ultimate lead instrument, how our approach is. So, but I still need to practice, I still need to rehearse. And I was spending some time, I guess it was really during the pandemic, where I ended up writing a lot and practicing a lot at home, while my wife also ended up working a lot from home, and hearing from the living room was kind of a thing. So I started to look, and I started sharing with friends who had vans here. But now I found something that is like 3 minutes from home, and it's a small space like this. A jazz drummer comes here and 2 opera singers, and then it's me, and it's usually free daytime. So yeah, also a good place to talk to you.
The guys in Gojira did a little collab with an opera singer. Is there going to be an Avatar opera crossover on the new album?
Nah, no. When it comes to blending old-timey genres with what we do, I've said for the longest time that the thing I would like to do the most would be to work with a big band. Trombone was my instrument of choice when I was 10, and grew up in the whole Swedish municipal music school system. So I'm partial to that, partial to brass stuff, but like when you play those little kid orchestras, and you play the themes from Flintstones very slowly and those things. But once it got a bit more real in your teen years, you could choose the marching band, the symphony orchestra, or the big band. And I thought the big band was more my jam. And I feel a lot of metal bands, there's a lot of symphonic stuff in metal. And there's a lot of, I guess not the first one, but the big one was, I guess, like late 90s, right? Early 2000s, Metallica did S&M.
Yeah.
And
Aerosmith did it too. Yeah, a bunch of bands did it.
And then, of course, I'm European, so we got plenty of the genre symphonic metal, and a lot of it is great, but to kind of figure out how to jazz it up to make things swing and to, to add those layers, but blending with a genre that already is groove oriented. So, so no opera singers.
The last time you were on the show, which I had to look up, it was episode 146. It was in March of 2023, so it was before Dance Devil Dance came out. We were talking about you living in Finland, and one of the things that you were working on was learning Italian and Finnish. How is that process going for you?
Once life returned a bit more to normal, I started to have way less time for it. Like, I mean, if it might be slightly better now than it was, but it doesn't say much. And especially with Finnish, the problem is that I have plenty of Finnish friends, and it's just that to take this step when we are doing so well in English is to make that step of, hey, can you speak to me like a toddler for a year or two, and then we'll have a real conversation again? Because I'm integrated in a lot of other things. I've handed out flyers for elections, and I have my own company, and I have had day jobs, and so I feel integrated in other ways. But it's just because the nature of what I do mainly for work, which means leave Finland over and over again, it kind of removes the immersion part. So no, not very well. But I did notice at some points, poker night with Finnish friends, looking down my card, hearing something going, hey, wait a minute. So something has been picked up over the years.
The last time you were on the show, obviously coming out of the pandemic, is the writing for this new album different than the last one because of that? Because you were touring more, you weren't home more? Is this album different because the world was different leading up to releasing it?
I think it has something to do with it for sure. Because Dance Devil Dance, the plan, the goal with what that was supposed to become, there was just space to think about it more, to paint a picture ahead of time of where you wanted to go. So it was a roadmap. And this one, I should say the title, shouldn't I? I'm promoting it. Don't Go in the Forest. I think, I don't think, it was way more explorative. It was more figuring out, like, making things and see what they would become, what they were becoming. But it's also true that it seems like we kind of do every other album like that. It's like, at least as far back as Feathers and Flesh, which was a concept album. But the big thing there was, so how do you make a concept album? So that was also exploring, learning by doing, figuring out as you went along. And what we learned from there and all the ideas that came together and that led to Avatar Country. And that had very clear goals and ambitions and feel, from the get-go. And that made Hunter Gatherer, every album becomes a reaction. So Hunter Gatherer was way more free in the sense of just exploring. The end goal wasn't super clear. Just that you got such certain feelings inside of you, and you work your way towards whatever they are pointing at. But aside from that, because the whole point of Avatar Country was to kid around a lot, and we didn't want to do that twice, not much else was said about what that was going to be. So every other kind of it seems to be a pattern as well, because you kind of react to what happened prior.
I love that you're releasing the album on Halloween, And you and I spent a lot of time talking about the difference in upbringing and how that affected your musical journey when you were on the show before. What was your Halloween exposure growing up? Because obviously in America, Halloween is kind of like this pseudo holiday, but was it the same for you growing up?
No, it is now kind of. It's the same in Sweden as in Finland. That we started doing it, but we're confused about it, and especially when to go trick or treating, because it's not the whole neighborhood doing it all at once, because it is a division between the people who do it on the actual 31st, actual Halloween, but there's no strong tradition tied to that, and parents are busy and whatever, so kids might show up on the weekend of that week. So if you're Halloween on a Thursday, still need some candy around for Friday and Saturday as well. And also that, because then we also do, which I guess would be called, Halloween comes from what I guess in English is All Hallows Eve, and then it's All Hallows Day. I confuse myself a bit, but like Dias de Muertos, right? That we have a different date. That was always the thing, but I was more solemn. Grandpa's grave, flowers and candles, and have a roast with grandma. Like it's a more solemn, rainy November. Oh yeah, they're still dead kind of thing, and not a big standout. So we saw Halloween on TV. Of course, the movie Halloween, but I think my strongest growing up would have been E.T. that I would rewatch a lot, and Halloween is being celebrated there. So, and then we were attracted to it, and I think we might have started late teens, early 20s. There would have been started to be Halloween parties and then Halloween clubs, like discos and those kind of things. And only now is really, because our generation, now would then have kids where everybody kind of knows what the deal is. We watched, enough American television collectively now where we have a shared idea, but we're still settling on a date.
I'm a purist. I believe trick-or-treating should be on Halloween itself, the 31st. That's
yeah, and I think we're heading for that.
Okay,
but it just has to become important enough, because then of course you have a good chunk of people who oppose the cultural imperialism of the great nation in the West and want to keep it to candles, grandma's grave, and what are you talking about? You will candy for Christmas, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of trains of thoughts. It came through media. It didn't. The organic history of it, and watching Charlie Brown specials and things I've learned because
having grown up with it, I'm fascinated by how you learned about it. It's hilarious that it was the Peanuts and E.T.
Yeah, well, E.T. was huge all over the world. Peanuts is an effect of then, in my generation, I think how much American media consumes. So it was referenced in the shows we watched, and I think it flashed by on TV at some point in my life, but it's not a staple. But then at this point also, now it's been well over a decade when Americans have treated me very well, and I've come over quite a bit, and all of that. So that, that fills in the blanks.
Well, the album comes out on Halloween, and when I saw the artwork for it, is there anything happier and more creepy simultaneously than a single red balloon? What is it about a single red balloon that is so happy and yet so creepy all at the same time?
That's a good question. Well, it has something to do with it for sure. I mean, the whole point, and I've said it so many times, and that is not what you asked, but the quick story of why am I a clown? Well, the real reason is because I kind of always was, and we only had to realize that. But it was also to just have me fit in that one music video for Black Waltz. And, well, I can be a scary clown. Yeah, that's good, because of what else was happening there. So it was meant to be a one-time thing as we keep looking for whatever we were looking for. And we were like, boom, there it is. And why did we even go to that place? Well, because, well, the circus and the carnivals, my memories of that was always joyful. Clowns were my favorite part of the circus. I thought they were fun. But at the same time, then you learn about Pennywise and you learn about Killer Clowns of Outer Space and you fill in the blanks. And also the carnival, even at its happiest, is still a mysterious place. Going back to consuming American media growing up, but Tom Hanks in It and what's called Soltar or whatever, when he wishes to be big, that machine
that's big.
Fairgrounds.
That's big.
Yeah. So, you have the mystique built into it. And then, I mean, we also, sadly, John Wayne Gacy is part of pop culture as well, and he was a clown, dressed up and stuff, and had up, you have those pictures. And you have the sad clowns, and it's because the clowns and the circus and the carnivals and the theaters and the people doing it who come and leave and travel and stay up late and whatever, it's just has become so many things. I don't have a straight answer for you, I guess is the point. But
was there a debate about the balloon color, or was it always going to be red?
Not a debate, because I think we all kind of pulled the same direction. Black was also interesting, but then I think for technical reasons, just to make it pop in the picture and the other things we did, the little video snippets and everything, that just to really have it be seen and stand out, especially now when stage outfits this time are extra black, and I don't know, everything else around it kind of became darker. So we yeah, no, it wasn't a big discussion. We all kind of, I think it was ultimately Johan Calienzo, our photographer, music video director, and all the things that insisted from the point of view of being a photographer and what pops in a picture.
You mentioned the organic kind of mistake of the makeup, and that it was never intended to be a permanent thing. Are there days when you're putting it on where you're like, why did I do this? Why? Because being a woman growing up putting makeup on all the time, I know what a pain in the ass it is.
It's more sometimes when taking it off, I would say, when you're, particularly grueling shows, sweaty or whatever. No, not really. And if I have moments like that, they're very brief because, or at least I think because it's so based in who I am, the whole thing, that it's not really a character I'm playing. It's something amplified, something unleashed, but not something really modified within me. It's not really a role I play more than any other role I play in life, So, so in that sense, it has become very natural. So for that reason, no, there would be more collectively with the whole band putting on the, the shows with all the production and everything. Then you kind of, I don't know, you watch some old Anthrax live clip and they wear shorts. There was that one time when we started a North American tour in Canada, and Air Canada lost all the luggage, and that included the stage clothes. So scrambling, like, okay, we can't get anything good, so let's have fun with it. So Hawaiian shorts and camo cargo shorts, bare feet, like just might as well take the piss out of it at this point. And it was great. It was so comfortable. Bare feet on stage, like my first kind of, not my first band, but the first band where we wrote our own material that I was in briefly before, like with guys who then introduced me to Avatar. Psych, and then I left them. We would go on stage bare feet because that was more jammed out, psychedelic funk. I don't know what it was. trying to be a lot of things, and we were very young. But we performed bare feet, and it's actually a really nice feeling.
I work in my own studio, and I don't have to wear shoes, and it's the nicest thing ever to be able to be barefoot all day.
Mm-hmm. So you get it.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those. So we got to try it once. It's like, good news, they're flying in the bags. No. We got no excuse. We got to dress up again.
Well, we know that there's no opera singers on the new album. You and I talked about the collab with Lizzie Hale on the last album. Is there a feature surprise on this record? And are you allowed to tell me before it comes out?
No feature surprises this time around. The nice thing with the whole Lizzie thing was that it was so organically came from how the song was written, or just grew out of the musical idea. Whereas I was thinking that, oh, Hendrik is going to be very busy on this one with the backups. But it's kind of, hey, this is kind of a duet now. Huh. Okay. So then we need someone. So it's it came like that rather than because the fact is that features are good from a business standpoint. So
and they're happening more and more often in rock now, I think, than they ever did.
Yeah, and I think many times it's very cool. I mean, I have enjoyed many of them, but I don't know, I'm just protective that we have ideas for the future that is beyond this album, where some things were said were like, oh, that's cool, that would make sense. It's more like that, and then when that happens, then you can do it again. But it said, well, there are features that aren't really known names in the metal business, but we have the German mountaineering choir out of Dresden who helps with the choir work. We have trombones and French horns and trumpets. We have cellos and violas. Basically, all the things that we would have let, a MIDI sound bank with samples do in the past, all those instruments are now real. Also, an old friend who plays the orchestral percussion pieces, which is so it's a great feature in our life because that meant we could reconnect with her. But it's not a American radio name drop.
Before I let you go, I got to talk to you about Ozzy, because obviously the last few months leading up to the Back to the Beginning final concert, talking to all of the bands about the impact of Sabbath and Ozzy on their careers. And then I saw your post and basically every other rock and metal band's post after the news broke that we had lost Ozzy. And I think it would be impossible for a rock and metal band to not be influenced by Sabbath and Ozzy in some way, just because the band was so prolific. So, number one, I know that they were an influence for you, but the other question is, did you ever get a chance to meet him, and do you have an Ozzy story?
No, I do not. I've just been in the audience singing along. So, no. So, sadly, no. But it's also okay. I've met plenty of people I look up to. I look forward to meet more of them. And I've been on the other side of the fence as a performer myself and everything. And the thing is that the best part of it, I got that. I got to be a fan, and I bought the albums, and I saw the shows, and I was inspired, and I get to do music myself now, where I won't dwell into it too long here, but basically the shortest list of influences to try to make sense out of the way we think about our music. We share with everything from Type O Negative to Nirvana to tons of bands, so we're not the first one saying it, but this all can be traced back to Black Sabbath and the Beatles. And I was the guy who, I know, I saw. So I wrote Ozzy on my knuckles for often before going to school, and Swedish equivalent of high school, like those gymnasium. And first day of that school, I wore my Ozzy shirt, and especially this album kind of came full circle in terms of when thinking about what I wanted to do as a singer. Because there was some article, and this is all happened in process of writing, so this is before he passed, that he was extra on my mind again. When I started to connect dots between wanting to, more than ever before, think about that what is being sung lyrically and musically, to really connect that, and the performance connects with that. Because Ozzy Osbourne, clearly beloved, and millions of fans, still underrated as a singer, I think, when you talk shop, you know.
Sam Carter from Architects said the same thing on the show, that he gets credit for a lot of things, but that his vocal ability is always kind of left to the last thing, and he was such a great actual singer.
Yeah, and here's the thing, because some of the things are legit reasons to maybe overshadow that when you are a person who has that it factor that some do, you know, that charisma in droves, a very unique sounding voice, it in and out of itself, and then just that he felt like an everyman, and then larger than life all at once, very unique qualities, and that's a huge part of it. But here's the thing, one of the hardest things to do as a singer, and which is the most important thing, and very much a lost art, is to be able to really tell the story of the song. And you can trace it back to soul music prior to metal, I think, and that a lot of it's, you know, you read a soul lyric, and "Baby Don't Leave Me" or whatever, and it's really not much to write home about, to read it off of a paper, but with the right singer, it means everything, and it's poetry. And the song Black Sabbath, we are scared because he is scared. You believe it. That's delivery, and that's a skill. You can improve on it. You can work on it. You can be the best at it for good reasons, you know, and he was one of the best, especially in heavy music. And in Changes, you know, that's heartbroken. And it's Symptom of the Universe, completely manic. It's always in tune with emotions. That's why I think while so many of us in metal, we would have our biggest songs be about a devil demon with big tits on top of a motorcycle, on top of a dragon, on top of a B-52 bomber, flying across the World War II, but in the future, you know, and all those awesome metal violent things. Great. But one of his biggest songs is "I'm Going Home to See My Wife Soon." That's nice.
That he wrote with Lemmy.
Yeah.
Please.
Exactly. But I mean, as a performance.
Please make that t-shirt of the demon with big tits on a dragon on a B-52 bomber. Like, please make that t-shirt for Avatar.
I'll talk to Tim. He can draw. But you know what I mean. And
Absolutely.
When Ozzy sings "Mom, I'm Coming Home," it's of course Lemmy's beautiful lyrics, but it couldn't be sung by, like, it's not everyone can do that and have it become so deeply emotional. Like, and when you hear it, it's more often in soul, blues, country, genres that maybe lean into the lyrical content, more folk. You know what I mean? But basically a power ballad that is so rooted in something so real. It's hard to beat. So it was a huge influence my entire life, and beyond, more importantly, a lot of good times throughout my whole life since I was, I think, 12 maybe. But more so again for this album than in a long time, that is so directly influenced by him.
Well, we get the album Don't Go in the Forest on the 31st of October, But then we're going to get you here in Boston at the House of Blues on November 26th. So we'll be able to hear the new music live for the first time. So
looking forward. Oh, House of Blues. So that's the one when I work out on the balcony and I can look at Fenway Park.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not big into sports. I do want to see. I finally saw a football game in the States. It just took 10 years to like. Maybe I should stop being a Euro snob and check this thing out. Oh, it was actually fun. So baseball is next one on the list.
Well, you got to come at the end of November if you want to go to a game at Fenway. It's a little bit late in the season for that.
No, I realize that. But I also, see, where we grew up was out of Gothenburg. Gothenburg is the Boston of Sweden, I think. If New York is Stockholm, Gothenburg is Boston.
The scrappy younger brother.
Working class. Oh, exactly.
Yes.
A bit of a complex about it. Way too many sports teams. Also, a very fancy school, but an image overall that kind of doesn't like to mention the big brain side of it. And the working class, the sports, the music scene. It's a lot of things connected.
I feel like you really see us. You get it.
Finally, Boston getting some attention from the metropolis of somewhere in Helsinki.
Well, if Avatar ever ends up touring when it's warm out in Boston, I will take you to a game.
I look forward to it. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. It was good to see you.
Likewise.
There he is, Johannes Eckerstrom from Avatar. The band's new album, Don't Go in the Forest, comes out this Friday, October 31st, the best day of the year, Halloween. The band is also going to be at the House of Blues in Boston, November 26th. And if you're looking for tickets, I put the link in the show notes of this episode. You'll also find a link to this episode's corresponding playlist. I make a playlist for every full-length episode of the podcast that features all of my guest music and all the songs and artists that we referenced in the interview. You'll also find a link to Johannes' first appearance on the podcast, episode 146, all of his links and all the Avatar links and all the Mistress Carrie links. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to like, follow, share, comment, and subscribe to the Mistress Carrie Podcast. New full-length episodes come out every Wednesday. Plus, every weekday, you get the Sit Rep. The Situation Report gives you all of your rock news, music headlines, and entertainment updates in about 5 minutes. And you never know when we're going to release a bonus episode. Join me live every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern for my weekly streaming video show, Cocktails in the War Room, and check out the Mistress Carrie radio show. Get the details on all of that and more at mistresscarrie.com. The Mistress Carrie Podcast, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network.